Over here at the shop today. It's Sunday morning, afternoon. Kind of getting things rolling. Did a little bit more fabrication from the other day where I showed you where we were at. We'll go over that in a minute. And I wanted to take this moment to congratulate Kryptonite Race Cars, Tyler Carpenter on his big win, Gateway Dirt Nationals. Just a good example to show that you work hard, you can accomplish what you want to. Those guys, they've worked their butts off. They deserve every bit of it, of what they do. Good cars, good guys. They'll do anything for you. So congratulate Tyler on his big win in Kryptonite Race Cars. I'm sure you're going to see many more from them guys. They're around. They're good racers, love to have fun, and family-oriented people. So keep your eye out for them. So some of the things we got done over the last couple of days. Remember, built on second shift, so we do a lot of this stuff. Get off of work at 4:30. Time we go home and eat, it's 5:30. Try to spend a little time with the kids. Come up to the shop, usually, 5:30 to 10:30 or so. Whatever we can get done. It's second shift job, so we're getting there. We started on this car last Sunday. This is Sunday afternoon. We got most of the mainframe done. We still got to do our 4-link plates. We pretty much know where they're going to go. We got our lift bar in, our 2+2X that we were talking about. Got that in. Got our right side diagonal in. Now we did not, some people run the diagonal up and back down. I like to run it straight. I know I've mentioned chassis flex a lot. It seems like once again, you're not chasing your race car a whole bunch if you're got a real rigid race car. It's going to come down to a lot more fine-tuning shocks and springs and making changes throughout the night. Seems like you'll chase it. We got our right side door bars in. Well, not the uprights, but we got all those in. We're running parallel with each other. As you can see, we're all in line. And building one car is not bad. It takes some time. If you was building one a week or whatever, you could get a lot faster out of it. We're just taking our time since we're just building a couple cars. We've got our 2+2X in, as I was saying. One of the things we did there is we stood this bar up here. Reason being is we're going to run our inch bar across here to wrap our seat belts around. I'll show you on the old car. We actually been, we've been hooking the seat belts up the wrong way. So we've been running them down here on this tab. One of the things that does is that pulls down on the driver. They want the seat belts to pull you straight back. They don't want you to pull you down towards out the bottom of the seat. They want to pull you back, and your waist harness to pull you back into the seat. So we're going to do the new seatbelt bar on the back. One of the things I'm going to play around with today is I want to check, double check my cross member that we have in. We got our bottom hole in. Pretty sure it's where it goes. I want to double check. I'm going to put just an old upper A-frame on, an old lower A-frame. And we're going to stick my 8-degree sweet spindle is what I'm thinking about running. Sweet spindle being, it's short. The 8-degree, we get a lot more, it makes the car rotate, keeps the car a lot freer for the crate motor stuff, so it doesn't want to bog the motor down as much. So it's one of the things I'm going to do today is just kind of dummy that up there and see where it's at, and then we will start doing some more fabrication. One of the things we're doing with this upper control arm, as you can see, is it's going to bolt on. That way, if we want to put anti-dive in the upper control arm, we can lower the back down, raise the front, add 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees anti-dive. We'll probably start out at our standard height, which is about 4 1/4 from the, maybe 6 1/4 from the bottom frame rail to the center of the hole, 6 1/4 square with no anti-dive. So we'll kind of dummy that up and see that's where we want it, and we can always move it since we're on adjusters. Like I said, we're just kind of dummying all this up, make sure I've got everything where I want it before we go any further.
Kind of have to see with all the decking and stuff.
Drivers fit in the car with flip-flops on. What do you think?
That's cool shit.
I think his eyes are, that bar is about even with the bottom of his chin. Almost.
Is it?
It's about even with the bottom of his chin. So he should be, that should be plenty hot or low.
I feel like
We're checking the height of the
Well, I know you're sitting away from it.
window bar. Okay, one of the things I'm doing here is kind of looking at my shock angle with my right front lower set at the length that I want, camber angle, upper A-frame angle to get our camber gain. And the other thing I'm looking at is when I did this car, you can see the cross member is set forward. The upper A-frame poles are set back approximately about a ½ an inch. So I'm checking to make sure that once I got my caster okay, my shock's going to be running forward a little bit, which is what I want. It's going to be angled a little bit towards the front at the bottom. So, you know, if we have 3½ degree caster, which is probably about where we're at right there, we'll make sure we're not too far forward on our upper control arm. You can see we're a little bit forward, which is okay. Like I said, all this is just mock-up, just to double check things and make sure, kind of know where I'm going with it. But it doesn't hurt before we get all this welded up. You know, if that upper A-frame's too far back, I could always take the poles back out, move it back forward, and then redo my jig for those poles in this car. So we're getting there, just kind of mocking it up. We'll get the strut tube mount in there. You know, on these late models, the camber gain is a big deal. This is, like I said before, like one of my old 118 short degree sweet sprint spindles. Really like those spindles. Seems to keep the car free and doesn't bring the motors down when you're under power. So we'll see where we're at. See what our shock angles are, lower control arm angle, and find our roll center on this right front.